They were in a situation where they were getting money from the government by social security checks, and they didn't believe that they had the capability to be able to even get a home. Now, the place that this person was living in, they were not necessarily in the best place, and so I talked to them, and I was able to work out with the mortgage broker and to show them hope, to show them, hey, listen, like even though this is where you're at right now, there is programs, there are steps, and there are things that we can do to get you out of there. That person actually was on the verge of suicide. They called me up, and they had told me that they were thinking about just kind of ending their life. So having the ability to talk on a team that I was talking to at the time with the mortgage company and everything, we were able to get them all set up, show them how they were able to actually get to an actual home out of where they were at, and to have the conversation afterwards and the thank you and to see the gratitude in their eye was really heartfelt, because it made me realize even more that like this business isn't just about the money, it's about the people.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a realtor whose passion is rooted in the transformative power of a stable home environment. He's dedicated to guiding clients through every step of their journeys, from renting to home ownership in the vibrant Allentown, PA. Please welcome Rojae Brown.
Hi, how you doing, guys?
Rojae, fantastic to have you. Let's dive right into your North Fork experience. Rojae, your personal story, seeing your father work to move your family from a floor to an apartment to finally a home after coming from Jamaica is incredibly moving. How did experiencing that change firsthand shape your core belief that a person's environment is greatly impacted by their home?
Yeah, I being able when my parents first came from Jamaica, it was pretty rough. And my dad, he didn't really have any a single dime to him, but he had his knowledge, and he did trade, so he did plumbing and construction work. And essentially, we came from the country, and we ended up in some of the worst neighborhoods that was possible in all around New York and around Brooklyn and everything. So I used to actually wake up to gunshots, where my mom would actually jump over me to cover me because she would hear the gunshots and would worry about them coming through the window. Also, experience schooling too was not necessarily the best, unfortunately. I would have books where they were like tattered history books, or a lot of teachers, they didn't really care about the students. And it was because it was in a neighborhood where it was really drug ridden. There was a whole bunch of different crime and different things of that nature. So for me, when I was in that environment, I thought to myself, like, oh, well, this is life, because that's what I knew. And when my dad got to a point where he was able to buy another house and essentially move us out of that environment, I saw a change not only in the way that I viewed the world, but I also saw how my schooling was better too. And because my schooling was better and I was around teachers that cared, it allowed me to be able to be in an environment that kind of like helped me push further on towards being able to eventually go to college. I started off with theater because I didn't know what else to choose.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I stopped doing that because I didn't really feel like that was something that I really wanted to continue on. And then I went for business management at ESU, East Stroudsburg University. So it's business management with a concentration in entrepreneurship, where that environment really progressed me even more, because not only was I in a part of my life where I would chose to just choose a thing to do, I was more focused, and it allowed me to meet a lot of wonderful, amazing professors who gave me a lot of good insights about entrepreneurship, about, especially my sociology teacher taught me a lot about when it comes to business, communication within business. Yeah, so I can definitely attest to like what is around you makes such a big difference, and what you're surrounded by makes such a big difference in your actions or what you do next. Yeah.
Yeah, what a truly powerful story and experience there. I can really see how that really means so much for you, being in real estate. I can see how that, that push happened, and you have that background that really made you want to be a positive change for other people too, that, and have that same experience that you did. So that's fantastic for sure. So you mentioned that seeing the smiles and the change in mood when a family secures a stable environment is what gives you the push to stay a realtor. Can you share a specific story about a client you helped transition into a better home environment and the impact that it had on them?
Yeah, of course. I helped a client of mine's, a couple clients. There's a couple stories. I'm trying to see if I can pick a good one. A lot of them are good, but one that all right. So like for example, I had this one client, and they were in a they were in a situation where they were getting money from the government by social security checks, and they didn't believe that they had the capability to be able to even get a home. Now, the place that this person was living in, they were not necessarily in the best place, like where they were experiencing different things from being in a lower income area. And so I talked to them, and I was able to work out with the mortgage broker and to show them hope, to show them, hey, listen, like even though this is where you're at right now, there is programs, there are steps, and there are things that we can do to get you out of there. That person actually was on the verge of suicide.
Wow. Yep.
Yeah, they like during the process actually, they called me up, and they had told me that they were thinking about just kind of ending their life, jumping off the bridge and just being done. And it's because their environment and where they were before was not necessarily conducive to like a good mental state, and the things that happened to them in their life was not necessarily conducive to a good mental state. So having the ability to talk on a team that I was talking to at the time with the mortgage company and everything, we were able to get them all set up, show them how they were able to actually get to an actual home out of where they were at, and now they're in a way better place. They and to have the conversation afterwards and the thank you and to see the gratitude in their eye was really heartfelt, because it made me realize even more that like this business isn't just about the money, it's about the people.
Yep.
This isn't a this is get rich off of whatever. It's helping make people's life different, because we are in real estate as an agent, you're directly dealing with people's environment, people's consciousness of where they are at and how environments can affect them. They can go from living in a room to living in a house, and then being in a place from that house with the schooling and everything, where they can be able to have the ability to find happiness and peace, because that's essentially what everyone is searching for when they talk about real estate. When they talk about moving, they're talking about looking for peace. They're talking about looking for a place where they can, go after the general like white picket fence thought
Um,
process as close as possible,
yeah. Yep.
And I love being having the ability to get to help in that process.
Yeah, I mean, whatever step they're in, it seems, in dealing with real estate there, you're looking to help people better their situation, regardless of what that situation may be at the time. And, I'm sure when you can be involved in helping them and get to that better spot for them, it's really meaningful. And, like you stated there, some clients maybe have a little bit more meaning to that than others, even though, I'm sure you enjoy helping everybody, but it sounds like you've made a really drastic difference in some lives there. And that's something that's commendable for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like too, like what helps a lot too is my faith. I heavily believe in God, and like there's even times when there have been closings where we prayed,
Yeah.
because it was just that intense,
Uh
like
huh.
it's a very big emotional moment in a lot of people's lives. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So you've touched on this transition a little bit, but the journey from renting to owning for some people feels impossible. What is an important piece of advice you would give to a family in Allentown area who is currently renting but dreams of owning a home?
If they are currently renting and they want to really own a home, they have to make hard decisions. They have to kind of learn that because for like they have to learn that in the little, it does go a long way. Sometimes we may see the little and think to ourselves like, okay, it's just a little, so it doesn't really matter, but it honestly does go a long way when you want to actually change your environment and you're tired of being where you're at. The goals and the things that you need to do is there. If you have a low credit score because of low bills or because of bills, pay the bills. If you are in a situation where you're feeling it's hard to save, but you're able to do DoorDash, you're able to do a side job, a hustle, whatever it is to save, do it, put it to the side, and every time you put it to the side, think to yourself, I'm putting it to the side because I'm creating a nest egg for a bigger goal or dream for where I want to go next to.
Yep.
A lot of people
Absolutely.
have the capability to own a home. A lot of times what ends up stopping us is our own mental to actually go to the next step.
Yep.
And I'm
Yes.
not, I'm gonna lie, like sometimes I even have struggles with thinking of the next step for my life because we're human and we can't beat ourselves up if we don't feel like, okay, there was a goal and we fail. Okay, that's fine. There was a goal, you fail, but there's another day. So don't give up.
Yep.
Don't ever give up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of us do it from time to time. We choose instant gratification over, our long-term goals, and anybody can get off track. But yeah, that's great advice. That, when you are looking to go from renting to owning, sometimes it's those little things that can kind of add up. That you start making little changes, and you just try to do your best to keep sticking to it, and you can get out of whatever situation you may be in.
Even if it takes a long time, don't I always say a lot of times, like, people will put a time limit on when you're supposed to get somewhere, but that is not where people don't know where you're at. People
Yeah,
don't know what your struggles are. You do though. So let if you know that you are passing that time, then be on yourself about it. Don't let other people stop that. Family members, outside influences will give that negative concept and will end up stopping you from moving forward because we all fail, but we all can get up again. And that's the
yeah,
most important thing.
yeah. Everyone's situation and timeline can be a little bit different for sure.
Mhm.
So, working in the Allentown, PA area, what makes this market unique, and what are some of the specific challenges or opportunities you see for first-time buyers and investors there right now?
I was actually thinking not too long ago that is we there in Allentown area there is so much being built up. We see the science center now being built up there that wasn't there before. That will drive amazing, great traffic towards Allentown. We see Allentown infrastructures being built up left and right, and the fact that it's not too far away from the city area, not too far away from the Jersey area, not too far away from different places, is a lot of attraction that is there. And when it comes to a person, even maybe even Airbnb, if someone was to come and they're just looking to see some of the attraction and leave out again, that's also a possibility. So Allentown is really, really doing their best towards making sure it's an environment that's conducive to being a place that can be comfortable and livable. I know that not too long ago too, they started cracking down on different things when it came to people riding their bikes that was wheeling and stuff like that. The fact that they announced that, the fact that they talked about that, shows that Allentown is really trying to make sure that they crack down on things that won't allow a person that's just working a 9 to 5, that's just trying to go about their life and take care of their family, can go in an environment and feel safe and comfortable. So Allentown is doing really good with that. And they are really making a big difference and strides towards that. And it's better to be in a place that you can see that there are people that are looking at the things that you see are wrong versus being in a place you see it wrong and you're just like, oh, well, they're not really doing anything, but we're here. That's not the case when it comes to Allentown. Yeah, Allentown is a really good place when it comes to thinking about moving to because they're making good strides. And
Yeah,
to the
actively
school
trying to
district,
fix it. Actively trying to fix the issues that might be seen in some places. That gets put on the back burner a little bit for sure. So yeah, happy to see that. You stated that you are proud to help with rentals for someone who's trying to get back on their feet. How do you approach the unique needs of clients who have faced setbacks, and what resources or avenues do you help them explore to eventually transition to home ownership?
so if a person is getting a setback when it comes to renting, I have different tools as a real estate agent that I can put that person on that give them updates about the different rentals that come into the market. And I usually tell when a person is looking to rent the hey, look at them. See the prices because it will keep your mind open to like what you're able to afford. The biggest setback a lot of time is credit. That is a lot of times the biggest because now we're looking at people sometimes don't understand that they see landlords and they think this overlord of this company of this one thing, and that's not the case. A
Uh huh.
landlord is literally one person who is currently have this house and they have their families and things to feed also, and then they'll have to pay a mortgage. And then they are an individual who is just trying to better their life and is trying to do this partnership with you where you are the tenant and then you pay for part of that space. Unfortunately, that whole entire miscommunication of what a landlord is has caused a lot of renters to sometimes not understand that going towards a communication with your landlord is going to be difficult if you do not give a little. And you have to understand, give a little means understanding their emotional blockage. because now this person who is just trying to live their life may have had a person before them that they thought would be a good partnership, but then they ruined the apartment, or they didn't pay their rent, or
Uh-huh.
even if they had a struggle with paying the rent and the landlord had a heart to try and work it out with them, they broke that trust. And then it happened again and again and again. So we have to understand that when it comes to that situation, if you are facing an application and credit score, understand you're just dealing with another person, another human being who doesn't want to be hurt, just like you don't want to be hurt. And when that whole entire thing happens, I would say, like, try your best to show, like, if you're going into this relationship with another person, that I have the capability to rent from you without you worrying about that. And that is the credit score. Pay your bills. Find out what is little by little. Even when it comes down to the credit score, a lot of credit score companies are actually looking for a repetitive person who is consistently paying, even if it's a dime. That would make a bigger difference that you're paying a dime on your debt and showing history that you're doing something towards it versus nothing at all. We get afraid of that. But taking care of that shows trust to that person, because then they say, okay, then, well, this person has this credit score, so maybe they're a little bit better on finances. Save. Now, if you're in a situation where now your credit is not it's exactly the best, if you can say, all right, then I know I can give first month, next month, and I can give a little extra of $1,000 on
Yeah,
top of
absolutely.
that
Yeah,
makes
and
a big.
I really like your point there too. Like, and landlords get a bad rap sometime, but at the end of the day, they're people trying to make it too, and they have setbacks and they have issues that they have to deal with, and they have taxes to pay, and they have home improvements to do, and there's it's there's some give and take there as far as the landlord tenant relationship goes. It's not all just roses for the landlord either. So I like that point for sure. So continuing on with that a little bit, how does your experience as a realtor help investors in the Allentown area identify properties that will not only provide a good return, but also serve as stable quality housing for tenants?
My experience so far, I've have helped many different investors on many different levels when it comes to investing. I know the big number that we all know when it comes to investing, the cap rate. We're all looking for that good cap rate to make sure that we get a good ROI on our investment. And with Allentown area, with so many people that are desperately needing to rent right now, it is a good place to invest because we have the people that needs to rent. There are people that are on the verge of homelessness or not. So now, when you're coming from the New York area, for example, you have all of these rent stoppage and blockage. I've talked to a lot of investors that are trying to run out of New York, and
Uh,
because of that, that's not here in Pennsylvania. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can charge everybody anything you want, because that's not feasible. You can't charge a person that's working at a Dollar General store an extra $500 and expect like them to take blood from a stone. It's not possible.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
But if you are coming in and you're thinking to yourself, like, here's an investment property, maybe it might just take me another 20, 30, 40 grand if you can afford it, and then look at the different units that are there, and then be able to see, okay, I might get a return my investment after a year or two or three, because as we all know, it's not something that comes right off the hand. It's something you get over time. And then you can be in that situation now where you have tenants who wants to stay there. Nobody wants to be homeless. Nobody don't want a roof over their head. You know
uh-huh.
what I mean? So if you give people that opportunity to get into the place, especially in Allentown, you will have that opportunity to see a returning investment and good clients. And also on top of that too, as a real estate agent, I understand that promising good clients is just a bad practice, because I can't physically
Yeah,
say
certainly. Yep.
I'm gonna jump into that person's soul, and measure that. That's not possible. But the tools that I do have is things called Rent Spree, which does a background check screening, which does a credit score screening, and things of that nature. So there are investors who are looking. There are tools that even me as a real estate agent can help to screen those people out. And then we also have looking at that individual person's life and through the interviews to make that big difference. So that is something that investors can look forward to, because there's not just the building, it's the people you're putting in the building.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a few tools, but you can't dive too deep into someone's life to promise a great tenant. Yeah.
Social security number. I'm gonna go eat your food.
uh, yep. Yeah. Perfect. So, in a competitive market, what is one key factor that you believe sets your service apart from other agents, ensuring that your clients feel supported throughout their journey?
I feel like I genuinely care about that person. I feel like I lead. I know, like, a lot of time in the world we say it's not a good idea to sometimes have your heart on your sleeves, on your shoulder. I feel like it's better that way because no one is doing it, because very little people are doing that. And sometimes when it comes to um, making a new pathway for things, we have to take that risk. It's a risk to have your heart out there bleeding, but it's a risk that's worth it because at the end of the day, everyone's heart is bleeding. They're just kind of protecting it, you know. So, like, if there is a person, like, I love working with clients where we have an understanding that, like, it's a please, thank you, hello, good morning, smiles. We're on the same page. We're on the same goal. It's not a competition. It's a workmanship partnership thing that we're doing here. And whoever comes in on the other side, I usually try my best to aim towards also that good type of vibe. So if I'm representing a client and another agent wants to come on the other side, then that client knows from working with me, I'm already trying to make sure that we're on a good, harmonious page of smiling and happiness too, so that the whole transaction can be that way. Now, when it comes to negotiating, yes, one person always end up losing, but do we have to negotiate in anger? Do we have to negotiate it in, like, without understanding that we're talking to another person and a human being? We don't have to do that. So, like, that's what I feel like a lot of my clients has come back to talk to me, that they've always told me time and time again. They love my heart that I showed during the transaction and the care. And I think that that's something that I will always, that's something genuine that I can legitimately keep up because that's who I am.
Yeah, just in our short conversation, man, I can already see it. Like you really care, and you have a genuine uh, goal to help people get into a better situation. And I'm sure that they can see that too, and they really appreciate that part of you. So you've clearly demonstrated a passion for helping people achieve stability and growth. Looking ahead, what is one goal you have for your business in the Allentown area? Perhaps a specific community initiative or a new service that you plan to launch?
So there's multiple different things that I'm working on at once when it comes to initiatives for the community. One of the things is that I'm helping. There are people who are helping kids who are in shelters. I know that right now too, when it comes to community initiatives, I really would love to see that the homeless in that area be able to not just get help, because it's not just about getting food, but also about the mental anguish that comes with being homeless, the mental fear when it comes to owning a home, and especially dealing with the government. Those are some of the biggest strongholds that are holding on to the homeless community. And I love being a liaison between different community leaders that can help get resources out to community, different community parts of that's there, so that they have the ability to work together. And that's when it comes to my goal as a real estate agent. My goal as a real estate agent is essentially to. I have a wife. I'm married. We want kids. I want to be able to be a good dad. One day I want to be able to have the ability to help my family build, and in that process of helping my family build, also help other families build. And that's basically my goal. It's that whole entire synergy that I'm looking for.
Very impressive, man. Yeah, I like it, and with your energy and your drive, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can achieve those goals. So that's impressive for sure. And it's nice that you're able to help people too along that path of you have your own personal goals, but it's really good to see that you're helping other people along the way too. So if you could give your younger self back when you first started in real estate one piece of advice, what would it be?
People will use you. People will use you. There are people in this world that will not care about who you are. They won't care about your heart. They won't. And I mean, like I said, I'm a person who believe wholeheartedly in God, and it's actually written down in the Bible to guard your heart. There are people out there that will do that, and I've learned to not necessarily just give myself away at any point to just anyone. I actually charge $100 retainer now, because when I first started out, I would drive hours without a single dime. And mind you, real estate is not something that you can just like you get paid hourly on. I
Yeah,
pay
exactly.
I pay a monthly fee of $150 a month to be at my office. I have to pay E&O, which comes over to over $400. I have to pay my Bright MLS, which also is $120 every quarter, and then I have to pay my Greater Lehigh Valley on top of that, and I have to also pay CE, and I have to
Uh-huh.
still feed myself.
Uh-huh.
The reason why I charge $100 retainer is because the fact that when I take people out, sometimes people don't understand. If you're taking me to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, you got your opportunity to see a place, but at the same time, I have to still survive. I'm doing
Yeah.
this business
Yep.
not necessarily, I'm doing this business to help you, but I'm also doing this business to also help me. I'm
Yeah.
looking
Yep.
for that synergy. And and when that synergy is in line and we're going good, everyone's happy, and
Yeah.
that's what
Yep.
I'm aiming for. So that's what I would tell my younger self: is don't let anyone take your gas and time
Yeah.
for fun,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
this is something you're doing so that you can be able to survive and live off of until you're 80 years old. And I remember I met this one real estate agent in the Poconos because I started off in the Poconos. This guy was like 80, 70 years old and still doing real estate. And a person told me once, whatever profession that you want to do, you go to that profession, right? And see the oldest person in that profession. And then you see how they're successful, where they are, and you see how their life is. And that's how you know you can make the decision of where you want to aim for. I want to be like
Yeah.
that guy. Even though he's walking in a cane, he can still help people. He can still
Huh.
move around. You know what I mean? It's keeping him alive. It's not just a thing that he does. And he loves the profession. That's where I want to be at. That's where I want to be at. So that's what I would tell my younger self. Like, hey, listen, just allow yourself to see when people that's trying to use you. Don't let people use you because it's not fun. It's not fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's nice helping people, and I can see that passion that you have for it. But you got to take care of yourself at the end of the day too. So it's a little bit of give and take there, and you at the end of the day you have to do what you have to do to make sure that you're in a good situation there too. So Rojae, this conversation's been incredibly inspiring. Your dedication to transforming lives through home ownership and for providing stable environments is a powerful example of what it means to be a true growth partner in your community. Your North Fork experience is a powerful reminder that real estate is fundamentally about people and positive change. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you for having me on.
Before we wrap up, for our listeners in the Allentown area who are looking for a realtor dedicated to helping them achieve stability, whether through renting, investing, or buying their first home, what's the best way to reach out to you or learn more about your services?
My phone number is 610-606-5818. Again, that is 610-606-5818. My office is here in Bethlehem. It's Realty One Group Supreme. So that's something you can look up online. It's Realty One Group Supreme in Bethlehem. And that is the best way. You can always call the office to say my name is Rojae Brown, and you can get in contact with me or text me at that number also too. I have an email which is rbrown@rogsupreme.com. Again, that's rbrown@rogsupreme.com. And if you want to email me too, that's another way to reach out.
Perfect. We will make sure we include those details in the show notes so everyone can get a hold of you. That's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Rojae Brown, and thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.